I'm Ken Krause at 37 Leland Street. So beyond the topics that have already been covered, we've already talked about parking, we've already talked about annexation. What I would like to hear from each of you is there one specific issue or opportunity that you think is undercovered in the town's public governance and conversation right now that you personally plan to raise the profile of and push if you become a member of the commissioners?
Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Ken. I have 5 or 6. so I know. I've been told that already. I am strongly of the belief that traffic is probably bubbles to the top of my desire to see a plan managed better, both on Friday nights. We just spoke this past meeting about the concerts and moving the concerts. Thank goodness we elected to keep them where they are. But I will tell you, over the 4th of July, we began in earnest a study with some drones from Ken Bellamy, our police department, and the NCDOT. And what we learned is amazing. They came back and said, what you guys have already done with the no left turns in 3 or 4 places, and then the exiting traffic way off to the right downhill at Swamp Road is right in target with what they would do. Ken presented to us an 8-point scenario action plan, if you will, that he's going to plug in for the next concert season already. But make no doubt about it, as much as I hate to sit here and say it, traffic coming on to our island in the next 4 to 6 years is going to triple and double and triple with all of the housing developments that are coming here. So we got to deal with it now. So we'll be ready for that and not later. So that's one of my top targets to discuss.
Yeah, along with David, I think traffic flow and traffic safety are huge issues out here. I would like us to take a look not only at parking, but also at sight lines. I was telling Tom today, I went up on Shelby Street to look what he was talking about a 4-way stop up there. I just hadn't looked before. And so I went up Shelby Street, and the first thing I saw over the right were two or three cars parallel parked in the driveway. So I had no sight line down to the right. I live on Scotland Street. We don't have any no parking signs within 50 feet of our intersection. And sometimes if a construction worker or someone parked right up into the street can't see. What happens out here in the summer? Our population grows maybe 30-fold during the peak of the season. People that don't know our roads out here are trying to get around, making mistakes and things like that. And I think this poses a very dangerous situation. So what I would want to do is take a holistic approach to it and go and look at every street corner and determine what we need to do, whether it's put no parking within 50 feet there or 4-way stops or something like that. So that would be my number one priority. Thank you.
Not to sound like a broken record, but let me just sound like a broken record. Traffic is no doubt one of the biggest issues we're going to have over the next few years. It certainly is now. And I want to commend the commissioners and the mayor and town staff for what they've been trying to do with DOT. Not only in just studying the problem, but in trying to find solutions that are practical and can happen. With us competing with Raleigh and Charlotte and other places for road dollars, it's kind of hard to say we need another bridge and we need it now. We also need $100 million to do it. So with that in mind, more practical solutions might be slip lanes at the roundabout that would help us take care of some of the traffic coming on Fridays. Like was already said, I'm glad the decision to change the concert night didn't go through, because that's not the problem. If you're coming on the island Friday night about 10 o'clock, you're still going to wait in line probably, or 9 o'clock in the middle of summertime, because people are coming in from out of town to go to their houses. I hope we can continue to look at options and try to get as much money as we can out of the state, because no matter how many lanes of traffic you bring to the base of that bridge, there's still only 2 lanes getting across. And we've got to manage that better. But coming off on turn day, Friday night, whatever it might be, if we can get some help at the circle, we can alleviate the problem a little bit. But it's going to be a problem for a lot of years, and we've just got to put our heads together and come up with the best way to beat the money out of the state.
Well, I've been asked this question quite a few times, and I'm consistent with what everybody's saying. I said it's traffic and infrastructure. We've got to be prepared for this influx of housing that we're seeing going on right now. First time I ran for this position, I took a stance. It was at a time when the town was talking to the county about turning over the sewer system. Well, I took a stance that I was against that, and I have reasons for it, and I won't go into them now because it's obsolete. But as I got involved and got elected, got on the board and did some research, which I should have done before I opened my mouth, I had to change my mind. I had to eat crow. Well, I explained why I changed my mind. There were a few people that says, well, you said this, and now you're changing your mind. Well, it was a good reason. I didn't feel like we needed to just turn it over. But we need to be prepared. We need to not get caught with a shortage of water, sewer, and those are the 2 main things that I see that could be a problem. So we need to look in that direction, and of course the traffic. Where we live in Saltwater Palms, they have cut off the entrance there, where you can't, people can't come out of the line going across the bridge and come in through the neighborhood, and that has really that's really helped. I see a big difference there, and the residents have put up stop signs out there because it's private. That's a private road. So they're able. Over.
Well, I'll go a different route on this one. So I think we have many issues that are facing us, traffic, of course, being one of them, infrastructure being one of them. The single biggest issue that I have, to bring up would be communication. And you'll see on my slogan is your voice, your town. And I am driven to understand what your voice has to say and make sure that we as a commissioner or as a commission do what you want us to do. I think a lot of these problems will be solved if we just do that. Because let's face it, Ocean Isle Beach is made up of highly successful people. They have either had very high positions in organizations, C-class things. They have built their own businesses. This is a group of self-made people. They're very smart. And I think that is a brain trust that we need to tap and make sure that if we have an informed electorate, that electorate is going to help us figure out what these problems are and how to solve them. I cannot solve all of the problems. I can't solve any of them. Together, all of us can solve them in the best interest of Ocean Isle Beach. And I'll give you an example of that. Well, I'll say that my goal is to push information as much as possible, to have as informed an electorate as possible, so you folks can then weigh in and help us solve the problems. I'll use the 241 acres as an example. That was not done. There was no public forum. There was not information passed out. It was assumed, I think, and I don't want to misread what was said in the board meeting yesterday, or 2 days ago, but it seemed to be that it was assumed everybody knew that voting rights were attached. We've had the property for 30 years. Take a look at the video and see what was said. And that can't be how we do business. We have to make sure on something as critical as that, or traffic, or anything else, that you all know exactly what the situation is and that you all have a chance to give your opinions and give your expertise to solve those problems.
That was a great question. And my biggest thing that I'm going to be wanting to propose is to enhance and expand our emergency services. I've been pushing for that for several years now, and saw how important it is to have paramedics capable of being, I'd love to add paramedics to our fire and rescue, because we've got about 900, I heard Daisy say at a meeting the other day that we have about 900, we will have about 981 permanent residents. And according to the census, our average age is 65 and above. And so there are a lot of medical issues, heart issues, and other issues that a paramedic is trained to deal with and be able to do the EKG readings and other things. Now, our emergency services are wonderful, and I can speak that from experience with having to call them for my mom as well as my boyfriend, who recently got a heart transplant. But I'm going to give you an example. Most of the time, our own emergency services and police show up within 3 to 5 minutes when we call 911. And then it takes up to about anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes for an ambulance to get there with the paramedic that has the correct equipment to take certain, like the EKG and things like that. And so a few Fridays ago, maybe about a month ago, we had to call 911 for my boyfriend, even though he's already had the heart transplant, but his blood pressure was sky high, and we could not get it to come down. And so I called and I informed them that he was a heart transplant patient and that his blood pressure was very high. So she had to send both our EMS and an ambulance